Here are some example Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions that you may or may not have heard of. In my experience, I know a lot of people know of check and checkout, and that's it. And they don't realize there's more interventions beyond that. So before we take a look at some additional interventions, let's first revisit why we place students into interventions. So we typically place students into intervention because they require additional supports emotionally or behaviorally. While some examples of behavior interventions are displayed here, you can find even more within various resources on the internet. And one resource is a PBIS website called pbisworld.com. So here's a link. We'll also post that link in our chat for you. For those of you who've never navigated the pbisworld.com website, feel free to take a few moments to see what all is here. They have information and resources, albeit some research-based and some not, for Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3. But again, there's a lot of information and it's all free. So looking at the Tier 2 tab, you can see interventions. I'm not going to spend time in reviewing each specific intervention. Just know that all of these, as well as the interventions linked within the Tier 1 and here on the screen, you can see the Tier 3 list. Everything is clickable. So when you click on any intervention to view details, you'll see a lot of information such as why the intervention should be done, when to do it, and how to do it. So now that we know of the fact that there are other interventions beyond check and checkout, we need to be sure the intervention that we're offering to the student matches the student's need. So take a moment to think about a student who needs support in reading. We would never take the student who needs support in reading and place them into a math intervention. And the same is true for behavior interventions. If a student's behavior is persisting because they're avoiding adult attention, we don't want to place that student in an intervention that supports the function of obtaining adult attention, such as check and checkout. So if a student is trying to avoid adults, we don't want to place them in check and checkout because that specifically more gets at obtaining adult attention. So to help teams get a better idea of what interventions match the function of behavior for a student, you can use something similar to this intervention matching form. And again, we have a link that we'll post for you. And you can use this link. There's also a lot of other student intervention matching forms on the internet. But just so you know, this is just one example. So feel free to browse the internet for some more. But in this example, it's a 2-page example you'll see when you click the link. Teams answer each question on a scale from very true to very untrue. Then add the scores for items related to each type of intervention, and then they're provided with a list of interventions that may match the need for the student. So know that on this resource, not all interventions are listed, but it would provide teams with an idea of what types of interventions should be considered and which ones may not be a good match based on the responses.